All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it's Google search, local and city Google search, has BSS, yes or no. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, home post somewhere on this profile. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps, Google searchers, social searchers, searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today, right now. Focus on talking about BSS here in all our videos. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, peeps that ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And actually, most of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. We reach them through interruption ads on Instagram and Facebook. And we talk about that over on our sister brand, profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. If we got 0 slots on page 1 on Google, man, we're basically already dead here. Because we now have the data, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even never even go to page 2. They're page 1 and done searches only. So approximately 80% of the marketplace. So that's the bulk of the marketplace. So we're invisible to 4/5 of people from page 2 or deeper. So we got to get on page 1. But 1 slot on page 1, that ain't enough. Because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1, which means, if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. No one stands out. So guess what? A buyer is simply going to click down through everyone, open everyone's website, do price quotes, price shop, price compare, negotiate, and that kills our margins. And since we're not, we don't look any different, we do not want either of these scenarios. Now, 0 and 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It is the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation. So that's, more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace every single week, it seems like. Basically, anytime anyone gets a new new iPhone or new camera, new gear, they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. They're throwing a website saying they shoot boudoir, and they are throwing up they're posting them on Facebook groups saying they're now for boudoir photo shoots. So the same number of sellers, or large number of sellers to the same number of buyers, means it's harder for every single seller. Margins compress, people disappear. And so everyone really understands market saturation. It happened in a big way with COVID. People lost their jobs, so they still had to work. Everyone's got a phone with a great camera. Okay, easy to start a boudoir photography business. Market saturation. Now, the one most people don't know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So it seems like a lot of boudoir photographers simply kind of, passively accept that, as a boudoir photographer, you're going to get either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. But what actually happens is, let's say you got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, you're on like slot 8. A few new boudoir photographers into the market pushes our website back to slot, whatever, somewhere on page 2. And boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, that's how it is. You normally get either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. And this is 100% incorrect. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know it's false I know this is a false belief of page 1 equality, that a boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots and that's it, because I went and did the opposite. So what I discovered was that Google will actually give as many slots on page 1 as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. So, okay, now we can build a solution around this, and we've done that. See that in 2 pictures. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer at DBP. And, if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. Obviously, we're disappearing. But if we're on page 1, we got 1 slot, we're still basically invisible. It's basically disappearing, being price shopped against everyone. Both cases are bad. And we care about disappearing boudoir photographer because if we are a disappearing boudoir photographer, that means our It's kind of like the warning light, the flashing check engine light, the warning signal, saying, hey, our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to actually disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered through testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And S-cubed methodology, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there when they search them. And when we do this, when we saturate social search, that's kind of like all the snow on the backside of the Andes Mountains, the east side, down in South America. That snow melts, goes into small streams, flows into small streams, small rivers. That's social search saturation. And then that all flows into the Amazon River. That's page one search on Google is the Amazon River. So it all starts with saturating social search. And the interesting thing about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen that can allow the photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation and even massive market saturation. The only other second thing that could allow that is having a large, well-known brand. So brand would obviously solve that, but that takes 5 to 10 years to acquire. We don't have 5 to 10 years. AI is here taking people's jobs. We need to dominate fast and fight against market saturation as fast as possible. And something I see that kind of looking at estimates here, I believe SQ methodology can actually help people build a brand actually approximately 8x faster than normal methods because we're showing up so frequently on so many different surfaces. So it's kind of like the only turbo brand builder boost thing out there. So imagine if you've got a large well-known brand and you're using SQ methodology, you're basically untouchable by market saturation. So an example of still growing in the face of market saturation, let's say we're in a boudoir. Let's say we're in, I want to go to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's say we're in Virginia Beach, Virginia. There's 1 million boudoir photographers there. Each boudoir photographer has their own websites and a boudoir. Everyone's fighting for those 10 organic page one slots on Google. Massive competition. And what actually happens is we're like, man, the only way we can compete, well, if we had brand, but we ain't got that large, well-known brand. So the only other second option is we got to utilize SQ methodology. So we take it, we crank it up to the max. And when we crank it up to the max, let's say we're ranking for the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across all of social search. And when we do that, let's say that flows out onto Google, and we saturate the first 300 slots, page one of first 300 slots of Google for those highest intent boudoir buyer searches. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that means we're taking up literally the first 30 pages. And so for any boudoir buyers out there, anywhere they search social search, Google search, we're basically the only boudoir photographer that pops up. We've literally taken all the slots from everyone else. This would be SQ methodology to the ultra super max. But if we're essentially the only one being found, whose business is growing? Ours, in the face of massive market saturation. Whose business is disappearing, slowing down, vanishing? Well, it's the 999,999 other boudoir photographers that can basically only be found Google page 31 or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page 2. So like, dude, who's actually going to page 31? Ain't nobody going to page 31. Now, once true with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. So initial benefit, more slots, page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is actually, we take those more slots on Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 and putting them on page 2 or deeper, effectively making them invisible. And when we do that, we actually turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers, and eventually they'll most likely exit the market. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually get this benefit better than the first one we talked about. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So the GBC universe recommends, as a recommended minimum, of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google page 1. And that's because if everyone else got 1 slot, our 3 slots, we're going to dominate them, look way better. People wonder why Google's recommending us so much and be clicking through ours. And in the super rare case, someone else has 2 links. Well, guess what? We are R3 still looks better than there too. So we're basically dominating all scenarios here. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, which now we know is false. And we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cube methodology to solve all this. Achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results, utilizing S-cubed, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology for myself. So I want to crank for the term here, BLCS Boudoir. I want to dominate page one of Google, BLCS Boudoir. So I utilize S-cube methodology. Started with 0 out of 10 links on page one of Google. And let's see what I was able to get to. So we got organic, slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. And these are my results I got purely using S-cubed methodology. And up to the main event here. Going to see if this boudoir photography business has, we're going to see if it has BSS for its one lone Google search here. Looks like we combined local and city. Search for this one. All right. So here we go. Goshen, Indiana. All right, they got 1 slot, 2 slots. All right, 2 out of 10 slots. All right. So BSS is not present, but they did not hit the recommended minimum of the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 Google page 1 slots. But hey, at least I don't have BSS. That's kind of the first thing we got to solve. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer and you actually want to, so you did local search for yourself, highest intent buyer keywords for boudoir photo shoot in your city, and you saw it, and you did a local search and city search, and either you had BSS, boudoir search sameness, or you simply did not reach the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 in Google for either one or both of those searches. And you finally see that S-cubed methodology is your one path, your one solution forward out of everything. And you came to that conclusion because you realized, yeah, the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that. It's false. So you broke through. Now you're like, okay, what are the ways I can take as many slots on page 1 on Google as possible? And you realize Google PPC ads ain't going to cut it because they only give you 1 extra slot, PPC at the top, even if there's 2 slots available. And the momentum dies once you stop paying. With S-cube saturation, there is still momentum. Not infinite momentum, but there's still momentum with the strategy that will, keep the positions for a time. And so you like that. You like that you can get way more slots on page 1 than having, doing Google PPC. And you also understand the market saturation. Yeah, the 2 prongs, someone gets a new phone, iPhone, someone gets a new camera. Yeah. But they see this 3rd prong coming. And the 3rd prong you actually care about is, the 3rd prong you actually care about is the AI taking people's jobs, as people still got to earn money, and everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera on it. It's going to be forcing way more boudoir photographers into the market, or at least way more people into the market to offer boudoir photography. Maybe they're new boudoir photographers. And so you like the initial benefits, getting more slots on Google. You like the initial extra benefit of kicking competitors off page 1 of Google so that they're relegated to page 2, effectively invisible to approximately 80% of Google searches. Makes them disappear. They become a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means in short order their business will be disappearing as well. And you actually want the fortification benefits to prepare for AI bringing more and more boudoir photographers into the marketplace. And when you do that, again, SQ methodology is the only solution that allows boudoir photographers to do that. It's kind of like building a levee like New Orleans has, because it's below sea level, so they build a the sandbag levee, keep the ocean out. And so you decide you're going to do this for your boudoir photography business. Keep the ocean of supply of boudoir photographers out of your turf. Page 1 of Google. So you see, SQ methodology is literally the only solution for you. Decide this is what you want to do to move forward with your business, to achieve page 1 visibility, to become a visible boudoir photographer, to have boudoir search visibility, because you know you need these things in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also like the secret back-end benefits of the SQ methodology as well that we have not talked about yet. But the first one's being every single day we successfully execute SQ methodology, what's actually happening is we're building these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our business, attached to our brand, attached to our website name, kind of our full name, our business name. And these only live in the AI mindshare, kind of the AI brain. And every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability that we show up as in the premium slot, the one boudoir photographer recommended in the AI overview here at the top of Google search. So that's one extended benefit, or further away benefit. The second further away benefit is, again, where every day we successfully execute methodology, we're increasing the probability all these different AI search options recommend us in their, in AI search. When someone's AI searching for boudoir photographer in their city, this is ChatGPT, Claude, Anthropic, and Microsoft Copilot, and Google Gemini. We're increasing the probability we get recommended these every day we do SQ methodology because we're building the invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our business, columns of the Parthenon, building Athens, Greece, or think of it, hub and spoke, building these spokes off our business. And this is like invisible mindshare for AI. And you're also seeing, you decide you're going to be the early adopter, first adopter in your city because A, my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, so you can close out all your competitors from using me by you hopping in with me. And B, that the more we execute daily on SQ methodology, that the bigger initial benefits we get instantly, and also the bigger back-end momentum, AI mindshare benefits we get over time, creating a massive gap between you and all your competitors that they're basically never going to be able to catch up on. And so you decide to be a first mover in your city on that, because the converse is if a competitor works with me first, then they're going to be getting all those benefits, initial benefits, kicking you off page 1, making you disappear, building up the AI mindshare in the back end. And for you to compete, you would have to rederive SQ methodology, which you'll never be 100% confident you've derived it correctly, to use correctly. You will have to then go execute SQ methodology equal to us executing every day with your competitor. And again, you'll never be 100% confident. So you probably most likely won't put in the effort to equal us. But even if you do, you equal our effort, okay, you're maintaining the gap that we've already built. So the gap being the same distance. So you'd have to double or triple our effort, our execution, utilizing SQ methodology, which I invented, to close the gap on us. Who's got that time? Who's got 80 hours in a day to do all that? So you decide, screw all that. It's better to simply be the first mover in my city, and let's actually lock this in and start getting these initial benefits and the delayed benefits, the invisible mindshare AI and the AI brain benefits. So that's you. Shoot me a DM. When my DM's open, my DMs are currently not open. The hospital is not currently accepting new patients. But if when I do open the DMs, when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM. We will see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.